Hello, I'm Brian Johnson, and this is Better Cocktails at Home. We're here in our home bar, the Quarterdeck Club, and we're going to make a punch in this episode. And so we're kind of continuing our month of punch videos, and we're not going to make every single step because I don't think you need to watch me juicing limes for 45 minutes. But we're actually going to kind of combine all the ingredients into a very large vessel here before we actually chill it, and we're gonna serve it. So I'm excited because I get to live out my inner tipsy bartender and all the jungle juices he makes. But we're gonna do a Better Cocktails at Home style, and I'm sure I won't be as attractive as him or have as much flair, but I think this might taste better. So the punch we're making is called Bombay Government Punch. Now this is a recipe from David Wondrich. He said in his book Punch he created it around 2003, 2004-ish. And he based it off of an old recipe for punch called, I believe it was Bombay Presidency Punch, I believe. I might have that incorrect, but you can reference it in the book Punch. Now, I've made this punch a few times. I wouldn't say like a ton, but I probably made it more than 5, less than 10. But honestly, it's like a go-to punch for me because it's simple, it's delicious, and it is economically priced. You could make it for kind of a decent price. So his recipe in his book Punch makes about 16 cups or so. I'm having more people over for a party for an event, so I'm going to 4 times his recipe. So we're going for about 50 plus. So this is going to come out for, so I'm thinking we're about 50 people. So I'm going to be making about 64 cups this approximately. So when you're making punch, it's really good to kind of try to project how much you're going to have because punch is actually really time consuming to make. Like I said, we have all of our ingredients here ready to go. So you're going to see me pour it in and it's not going to take that long. But like I said, I've juiced for this 52, 54 limes. It took me a while. I had to make simple syrup. You have to make it cool ahead of time. I brewed tea ahead of time, so it took all these things that you have to kind of plan for. And so if you kind of run out of punch, it's not like something you're gonna easily like whip up real quick during a party. So try to plan as best you can. You know, nice thing is if you overestimate, punch is super tasty like the next couple days after you make it. So it keeps for a few days, no problem at all. So just keep that in mind as you're trying to estimate it. So let's kind of start pouring. We'll talk through some of my experiences and tips and that kind of stuff as we kind of add our ingredients. So we're going to add our rum first because why not? Now for the rum, he's made this punch with all different combinations of rum, just rum, cognac and rum. He does a 50-50 mix. I made it that way before. It's super tasty. I often just use straight rum. Totally okay. I love it. Now, the store actually, I didn't have enough to get all of this one, and I also happen to like Appleton, so we're going to kind of mix a little bit. So, we're going to be adding 6 liters of rum total. So, we're going to add 3 of these big 1.75 guys. I don't know if I can do it tipsy bartender style. I don't know if it's cheap enough for that. But we're going to add all of this. We're going to be more efficient now. See, Tipsy's done this a lot. I haven't. We'll do 2 bottles at once. All right, so now we're adding, this is Dorley's 5-year Barbados. I think it's a super nice little kind of just basic rum. It mixes well. It's a great price point. And so we're going to be kind of doing some of these. Smells really good. If we want to be faster, you can pull out the little like pour spout thingies they have in there and it'll pour faster. See, now I know why Tipsy does this, because it's fun. We're going to another full one of these. I hope these people like this punch. All right, we're almost. And now I'm going to do another 3 cups of this. So when you're making punch, you're not using a jigger, you're usually using something much larger, like this is kind of a 4-cup pour. So this is honestly, I use this for a lot of punch making, larger scale, small scale. I'm gonna do another 3 cups of this to kind of get to my approximate total of about 6 liters. And a lot of punches to taste. So honestly, if you want it stronger, weaker, I mean, it's all totally flexible, which is super cool. All right, so we've got our rum. So yeah, just use what you can. I like these. This is a good taste combo, good price point. So next up is, I like using black tea in this rum. So you can use water, you can use green tea. I just like the kind of the flavor mixture of black tea. So I brewed up 8 quarts of black tea. And so we're going to dump this in now. And that's kind of the weak component, right? So we have our strong rum. We've got our weak tea. There's obviously no alcohol in it. Now next up, the final 2 ingredients, we have sugar and lime. So those are kind of adding like that sweet and sour component, right? So this is where I think the kind of, my experience making punch, the kind of blending happens, is just kind of like that balance when you're kind of tasting it. So I honestly like to kind of taste as I go. Just to kind of, like even this, right? Like I know this isn't balanced, right? I know this is just tea and rum. It's not gonna, it tastes like tea and rum. But I think as you start to add your components, how you see the flavors develop helps you. So this is the point where I really kind of like think about measuring, right? Usually I'm more limited by like citrus because it's, you either have a finite amount. It's easy to make simple syrup. I usually have a lot of sugar. So usually I kind of start with the citrus. Let's see, so I have 32 ounces here. And what's left is about 14. So 32 and 14, that's 2 and 4 is 6. So about 46 ounces. And the recipe he calls for, his smaller version calls for 12 limes, right? So you have to be paying attention because when I was juicing limes, these limes were just dry. Like they weren't using any juice. So like I juiced, so if I scaled it up to 48, he did 12, so I 4 times it, 48. I was seriously like 8 ounces short. So it could have just caused balance. So you can't just simply follow and be like, okay, well it calls for 12 limes, so do 12 limes, right? Like you gotta kind of be paying attention. Most limes are about an ounce per lime. So that's kind of what you're thinking along the lines of. And so, but you got to pay attention, right? Like it can cause you problems. So we know I put in 46 ounces of citrus lime juice. For our syrup, this is kind of a rich, simple syrup. And so I like things on the tart side. So what I do is I go short on the syrup to start with, and I kind of add it in as I taste it. So like for instance, I'll probably start with like 30 ounces or 28 or something like that. I might even start with 24. You can always add it in. It's harder to take it out, obviously. So we'll just start stirring. So now like all the flavors are in there. So we're going to start to taste how it should taste. And it's kind of just balancing it right at this point. And you know, this is honestly down to personal preference. So that needs more sugar, which I was expecting. So I'll do another 12. So that would take us up to 32. Or excuse me, 36. So we're gonna, so as we kind of hone in on that flavor that we're looking for, and you'll kind of taste it as you start doing it, right? And like I said, it's not exact. You don't have to be perfect on this. Getting closer. I always have to try to adjust. I like things on the tart side, and I know people don't always like that. So I have to try to take into account. So I'll probably add a little more of this, maybe like another 6 ounces or so. And I think that this is going to be pretty dang close to what I'm looking for in terms of flavor, balance, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to call it good. I like that. It tastes good. You know, and you can always tweak it, you know, a little bit as you're serving it, right? You can kind of play with it. But I think this is going to turn out really well. So at this point, this needs to chill overnight. It's just the flavors marry a little bit more. It gets cold. It's better for the serving it. You don't have to try to chill it with too much ice because you've already have a lot of water in the tea in this. Too much ice is going to even water it down even more. So we're going to chill this overnight. Tomorrow we're going to serve it, and then I'll put a block of ice in there, chunk of ice. And so that is, and then great, a little bit of nutmeg on top, and it is amazing. So this is the most punch I've ever made in my life. We did pretty well, I think. Hopefully we'll see if we have any extras tomorrow. I'm guessing maybe not, but you never know. So that's Bombay Government Punch, and I thank you for watching Better Cocktails at Home. We'll see you in the next episode.